Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well and ready for another social studies lesson. As you can see, I'm in a new location today. I kind of like changing up where I read or do my work just so I can, keep it interesting for myself and hopefully keeping it interesting for you guys too. So I'm actually recording from my brother's room today. I hope they don't mind. Just a different, change of scenery. Okay, so we are starting lesson 3 today, which is Cultures of the World. And you might be like, didn't we already learn that? Didn't we already read about that? We're just expanding our knowledge. We're just learning all sorts of things about culture. And so we're kind of learning about it in new ways and learning some new words that go along with it and just kind of applying what we already knew about culture to some new things. And you guys did an awesome job on your holidays and traditions from around the world. I learned about so many new holidays, guys. There were so many that I've never heard about before, and you guys really did a great job explaining what they are and traditions that go along with them. So I hope you guys took some time and watched some other people's videos too, because there were some really cool and interesting holidays that were chosen. And you guys were really thinking outside the box and expanding your horizons, which is awesome. That's what I love to see. Okay, open your book to page 362 if you have it. Let's start reading about cultures of the world. So our what to know question is, how are cultures around the world alike and how are they different? So we're going to be comparing and contrasting cultures from all around the world. Culture groups around the world have similar and different ways of life. These customs affect family, school, language, food, and other parts of life. Ways of life. There are many different cultures throughout the world. Africa and Europe are 2 continents. Each continent has about 700 million people. The people of each continent make up hundreds of cultural groups. The people in these groups speak different languages and eat different foods, which we know, right? Because we've learned about that and we've shared our experiences of eating different cultures' foods and hearing different languages and dancing and all that stuff kind of comes down to the way people live and their way of life and how they were brought up. Life in Ethiopia. Africa has more than 50 countries. Hundreds of languages, such as Arabic and Somali, are spoken. Students in Ethiopia learn different languages in school. At home, families eat vegetables and meat served on injera, a flat, spongy bread. Life in Spain. Europe is made up of more than 40 countries. More than 40 languages are spoken there. In Spain, the official language is Spanish. Other languages, such as Basque and Catalan, are also spoken. Families in Spain eat their main meal of the day in the afternoon. So I actually have an aunt from Spain, and she speaks Catalan, and a lot of my cousins speak it too. It's a form of Spanish, but it's not exactly the traditional Spanish that we might learn here like every day in school and just the traditional Spanish that's spoken there. So it sounds different. There's a little bit of a different dialect, which is kind of the way that they say it sounds a little bit different. But it's a beautiful language to speak and to hear. I don't speak it, but I do hear them speak it. And a fun fact with Spain, too, a lot of times they eat their meal, like they might eat dinner later in the night. So they might eat their dinner at like 9 or 10 o'clock at night, which for us, that's kind of unusual because we eat dinner maybe 5 or 6, maybe 7 at the latest. But in Spain, since they eat their large meal later in the afternoon, they might not be as hungry around our normal dinner time, so they eat later in the day, which I'm sure that would be an adjustment to make if you moved to Spain or you were studying in Spain and they're eating their dinner at 10 o'clock at night. So very different than what we have here. Page 364. People of the world. People everywhere are proud of their own cultures. One way people show their cultural identities is through what they wear. A cultural identity is a collection of traits that are seen in a group. And remember, traits are like qualities or things about someone. So if I'm talking about a collection of traits, it's a collection of things about that person. This map shows children from some of the world's cultures. Some are wearing traditional clothing that is worn on special days. Others are in everyday clothes. So if we kind of look at these pictures, like for example, if we look at Afghanistan, they're wearing the scarf, right? And in Japan, they're wearing the kimono. Those are traditional things, and some people might wear them every day. But some people might wear them on special occasions or on holidays or birthdays or things like that. And if we look at the boy in the United States, that's kind of our everyday wear, right? Pants, sweater, he's throwing the football, he's all American. But like they said, what you wear kind of can tell where you are from. And that sounds kind of funny, but if, for example, if we went to Spain. The clothes we're wearing might show that we're not from there, right? We're not wearing maybe a traditional Spanish outfit or, something that they might wear. Our clothing does tell where we're from a lot of times, and I know you're probably like, how does that happen? But, for example, if everyone's wearing the traditional dress and we're not wearing that, that could show that we're not from that culture, that our clothes that we're wearing, that's from American culture. And normally in America, I don't really know if we have any traditional clothing. I think we just kind of, everyone dresses in everyday, street clothes. So that's what kind of makes our country unique, is that everyone kind of just brings in all those traditional things from different places. And that's, like I always say in every video, I feel like that's what makes our country so unique. Okay, so just take a minute to look around the map. These are just some things that they might wear, not always every day, but maybe on special occasions or maybe to school. It looks like the girls in Jamaica are wearing a school uniform. And we can tell, just by looking at this, who might live in a cold place and who might live in a warm place. So if we look at Australia, for example, she's wearing shorts and a t-shirt. But if we look up to Russia, looks like they're sledding, right? And then in Canada, they got the big parkas on, so you can kind of tell where it's hot and where it's cold. Turn the page to 366. Expressions of culture around the world. People around the world express their culture in different ways. Architecture, music, and dance also help create a group's cultural identity, which we talked about a few lessons back. Japanese architecture. Many historic buildings in Japan share traditional features. They were designed to be close to the natural environment. Most older buildings are made out of wood. Some buildings have many openings, so air can move easily through the rooms. In Japan, living close to nature is an important value. So, in the United States, we don't necessarily, well, at least in Chicago at least, we don't have like open air homes. We have our windows closed, our doors closed, but in other places, if it's always really warm there, or depending on where they live in the world, they might have open air homes. So that kind of shows that architecture defines a place too. So if we look at this picture on the bottom of 366, if you don't have your book, I'll show you. Kind of looks like this. The caption says, the island of Itsukushima, there we go, in Japan is home to a shrine or holy place. And it looks very open, right? So the air can come through, and a shrine is like a place that might be holy or it has a special meaning or special value. 367. Brazilian music and dance. Music and dance are important ways to express culture in Brazil. Samba music has a lively rhythm. The samba dance comes from Portuguese, African, and native traditions. Dancers and musicians practice all year for contests held during a festival called Carnival. Why were buildings in Japan built with nature in mind? That's a question to think about. Why were they built with nature in mind? So, a value in Japan is that nature is very important to them. So they value nature and they want to build places that are thinking about nature, maybe, with qualities about nature. So they might live by trees. They might live with, like I said, the open air homes, because nature is super important. They want to live close to it. They want to incorporate it in any way that they can to their living. And I'll read our summary. People around the world have similar and different customs and ways of life. They express their cultures in many different ways. So we saw that once again through dance and music and the way people build their homes and the way people dress. And all that stuff goes to show that our cultural identity really defines who we are. And, we have such a pride in where we're from, and we should, be thankful for all the gifts that we have in our place that we live. So it's kind of cool also to learn about different cultures and to see different places. And I was actually so bummed because this summer I was supposed to be going to Ireland for a family reunion to meet some family that lives there. And I was so excited to explore Europe and just see Ireland for the first time. But that was canceled, sadly, so next summer I'll be going. That would be my first time ever leaving the country, so I was really excited for that. So looking forward to next summer when I can finally go and explore a different culture that I'm a part of, right? But not necessarily, I don't live there. I just, you know, am Irish, and I have that Irish traditions and culture here, but next summer I'll be exploring it, so I'll keep you guys updated. Make sure you guys answer your questions on Flipgrid this week. A few more weeks, guys. You got this. Keep up your hard work, and I will see you guys soon. Have a good week.